the additional study, and it was started as a physical map revision flood study. A few years after they initiated it, CWCB started to engage town staff a little bit and just giving some feedback, and both James and I have been involved since that time, along with the town's hydrologist, Robert Crable with Matrix Design Group. But anyway, we're reaching the end of this long process, and the updates to our floodplain maps have gone through a number of public noticing processes, including a most recent 90-day appeal period. The FEMA did not receive any kind of additional information or any appeals of the proposed maps during that time. So accordingly, FEMA and the CWCB are considering these maps final. There is a requirement from the state that we update our codes to reference these maps by January 9th of next year. So anyway, we're in that process at this point. And to help you kind of digest what some of the changes are in our region, I included a couple side-by-sides of the more critical areas in your packet, and I'm happy to answer as best I can any questions you have about why there were those changes. But for the most part, the changes were driven by updated survey data or LiDAR data, which was mostly used, so just ground truthing that mapping. And there was no changes to the hydrology itself, but there was some back and forth that was done, not to get into the boring engineering details, but around what should be considered a no-rise floodway versus the state regulation that you can change the floodway at least, or up to 6 inches within that floodway. So anyway, there was some changes to the mapping kind of based upon those regulatory standards, but in large part, it didn't have a huge effect on the floodplain mapping along the Roaring Fork throughout Basalt. And of course, the way these things work, it's only the floodplain map that's within Eagle County that was studied. So James, if you flip to the next page, the awkward delineation that you see on the next one down.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Oh, there should be 2 there. Yeah, on that one. So it looks a little bit incongruent because the boundary between Eagle and Pitkin County kind of sits in the middle of that map, and the study did not include Pitkin County. So just to bring some clarification to why that looks like a funny jog there. But anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions you all have around these code changes, but largely they're just an update to reference those newly adopted maps, which will be effective on January 9th.
Cindy, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the maps. It looks like there's going to be less or fewer flood hazard areas than there are now. Is that,
That's
am I
right.
looking at that correctly?
Well, yeah, the floodway was narrowed, and that was largely around how previously there had been a zero rise condition, and through conversations with CWCB and our hydrologists, we wanted the floodway delineated as a state mandate, which is it allows for a 6-inch rise. However, this really gets wonky, so I apologize for the details. But however, the town of Basalt will still require a no-rise condition, but the floodway delineation is based upon that 6-inch state mandate rise allowance. So I know that doesn't make it very clear.
A no-rise condition is for what? For building area?
For building, right? Building or infill or anything along those lines. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Building, possibly, probably flood insurance. How else will this affect us?
Largely, it's just flood insurance. And there's relatively minor changes. The one area that will be affected a little bit more than others will be in the River Oaks subdivision. And a couple years ago, we did do some outreach, and a number of those homeowners were involved and aware of that, of the process we were going through. Yeah, this depicts it now. So if you look at the picture to your right, thanks for your help, James. That area just above his cursor is the River Oaks area, and that blue is what was previously the floodplain. The orange is the 500-year, which doesn't have regulations associated with it as far as residential development. And then the picture over on your left shows that expanded blue area. So the floodplain increase there will affect more of those property owners. That was based on ground truthing data, and we talked to those residents about providing survey data if they felt like that was inaccurate. And I think at least one of them went through kind of a process with FEMA around supplying some additional data. But it's really, an engineering analysis there. Anyone else have any questions?
Kyle, you questions? Bob?
No, this addressed my one question, is that neighborhood seems to be the most affected,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
with a number of additional homeowners now being in the floodplain.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of questions. First off, all of this work was done by Matrix and Robert, right? No?
No, this was done initiated by Eagle County, and Wood was the primary consultant for FEMA and the CWCB on this. Matrix is the group that the town uses to help us review this and stay up to date and be kind of our technical advisors when reviewing this data.
So this was reviewed by Matrix?
That's right.
For us?
That's right.
Okay, that was my question. Also, and was unclear about how this affects the FEMA maps and Corps of Engineers and all of the permitting that you need to do in the floodway.
Sure. Those are a few different things. The Corps of Engineers is different than floodplain. That has more to do with wetlands and waters of the United States, which is just a different technical designation.
So it doesn't affect the Corps at all?
No, it doesn't affect the Corps. This will just affect our floodplain mapping and floodplain permitting, and then any federal processes that developments would have to go through. They call them letters of map revision, things like that, where, but largely the town doesn't allow development in the floodplain, or only allows development that does not affect variations or increasing the flood on other
So
people's.
what happens to residential properties that were outside of the floodplain that now become in the floodplain?
If they have federal-backed mortgages, then they'll need to purchase flood insurance.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. Does this need to be a public hearing too?
Yes.
Yep.
Based upon that question, I'd like to ask one
Oh,
more
yeah,
question.
sure, go ahead.
Your question created a question for me. So those who are currently in the floodplain, that are now in the floodplain, can they add on or change their home,
Right.
et cetera?
I'd have to read the code strictly, but it's basically, you can't do anything that would adversely affect the floodplain.
So Bob, you can basically add on if you have your first finished floor at least 2 feet above the base flood elevation. And then kind of the second condition is you can't increase the base flood elevation as a result of your development. So, if you're doing an addition, sometimes it displaces where water would go in a flooding circumstance and would increase the base flood elevation. So you have to prove that that's not occurring in your development.
In that regard as well. Thank you.
Okay, if that's all the questions we have, let's open this up for public comment at 6:23. If anyone in the audience needs to say anything, please step forward. It doesn't seem like there is. Is there anyone online?
No.
No? Okay. Well, let's close public comment at 6:23 and move on to commissioner comments. Bob, do you have any comments about this?
No, I do not.
Kyle? Nope. No. Rob? Cindy? Okay. Do we have a motion? Anybody?
Ready?
Do you want to make it, Rob, since you're the only one who's actually
I
affected
kind
by
of feel like
this?
everyone shouldn't, so I'm gonna not.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve.
Okay, good. Do we have a first? Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, we have a first, we have a second. Any further discussion? I don't think so. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see here, we did that. Commissioner comments and staff updates. Michelle.
All right. We recently concluded our annual leaf drop composting efforts, so we'd like to thank everybody who participated in that. Excuse me. We'll have some metrics about how many tons of leaves were diverted from the landfill for you soon. Coming up on December 6th, which is a Saturday, is the tree lighting event at Triangle Park in Willits. And during the day on that Saturday from 11 to 4 is the Basalt Holiday Market at Taka. So we encourage you to go there and find your holiday market things. And then following that on December 12th, which is a Friday, is our Mary on Midland, kind of our new tradition since the Midland Streetscapes finished for the tree lighting event on this side of town. And this year, we're going to have a retail scavenger hunt that is kid-friendly as part of the Mary on Midland, so super excited about that, as well as the classic Santa s'mores and music stuff. So hope to see you there, and those are my updates this go-around.
Any commissioner comments?
Oh, I have one more, so
Oh, yes,
sorry.
yes.
Tomorrow night, November 19th, from 6 to 7 here in Town Hall, we have an open house for anyone who's interested in participating or learning about the design guidelines for the Midland Avenue streetscape. And that's design guidelines for redevelopment of any properties on that area. So open to the public, come and learn about what it is, come and comment, all of those good things.
All right, thank you. Any commissioner comments?
You have a menorah lighting on the books?
Yes. And
I don't need
have
the
the
date, I just want to make sure that it's being planned.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Thank you for the nudge.
Any more comments? No, I have one that I wanted to thank Public Works for the way they plowed the bike path last year, and sincerely hope that we can continue that this year. They did an outstanding job because it was frequently plowed before the road was plowed. And I found that very impressive since I do all my grocery shopping that way.
Are we getting snow this year?
In theory, it is close to winter, so, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
I do have a question, actually. Michelle, can you discuss how the meetings, how well attended the meetings regarding is it parcel 3A across from Tikal? How they are progressing and types of, the level of attendance you're getting, et cetera?
Sure, I think you're talking about parcel 2E.
That was close.
Yeah, you were close, which
Had a
is
vowel.
weird, it is a strange.
Had a vowel in there, and I had low number.
I don't know why anybody would remember those two things. It's more commonly described as the Willits Housing and Community Space Project. And you can find updates on basalt.net under the Bach advisory, and we have the whole schedule there. We did recently complete a series of public outreach events, some with the neighbors for 2 weeks, coffee events the first week of November, and then a specific meeting on November 10th for the neighbors at the Hoffman. And we had probably, I don't have the exact sheet, but I think we had somewhere around like 20 or so neighbors attend that, which was wonderful. We got a lot of really nice constructive input from the neighbors on that. And then following that week on Thursday, we had an open house geared towards the general public, employers, and general interested people. Again, we haven't had a download with our team quite yet, but I think that we estimated somewhere between 45 and 55 attendees at that. So that was really exciting, and again, a lot of constructive input about the project there. We're spending some time right now putting all of that input together in a digestible format, finding trends, looking for specific feedback, and then we'll take that and come back and look through the plans and see what recommendations we have. We'll present that to town council in January, so when that is a firm date, we'll advertise that.
Yeah, I commend the town for the level of outreach that you guys are doing. It's great.
Thank you. Any other comments? We have a motion to adjourn.
Next meeting?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Likely the next meeting would be December 16th, and so we wanted to check in with P and Z members about availability for that date.
I will be traveling then.
Hang on a sec, let me check.
I will be here.
I'll be here.
To be here.
I'm here. Unless it doesn't snow, and maybe we'll go someplace.
Yeah.
It's bound to be a heavy agenda.
I will be here as well.
Okay.
Get more court amendments for us?
Yeah, exactly.
No, there'll probably be a public hearing on a PUD amendment on Sunset Drive and maybe some more code amendments, yeah.
Yeah, these were very scintillating ones this time.
Yeah.
Very, very meaty.
Well, when the state requires them to happen by a time, we would love to have rolled them into another meeting, but that's just how it happens, so thank you.
We can't do them like council does with a consent agenda for all of them, and just have like one vote on all of it.
Well, then we wouldn't feed you dinner, so it's up to
Good point.
Good point, that is a very good point. All right, motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
First?
Second?
We have a first, we have a second, all in favor?
you. Thank you all.
We're done, thank you very much.
If I make the motion for the flood thing,